So just come to standing and lift and raise your toes. Start by opening the energy into the head. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but hopefully it should be good for you just by lifting and rolling the shoulders. And then I just again need to check in with you. Are you able to turn your head to the left? And then breathing out, turn the head gently to the right. That doesn't flip you at all. And then come back to the centre. And then just come to bring the hands together at the heart centre. Soften the knees and circle the hands up. Stretch up, clasp and reverse the hands. Press the feet into the ground and stretch up with the palms of the hands upwards. And then just very gently, very familiar, going to one side. I'm going to my left, it doesn't matter. Breathing in, come to the centre, and breathing out, go to the other side, which in my case is the right, but it doesn't matter. Come back to stretching up, and breathing out, turn gently to the left. Come to the centre and turn gently to the right. And then lower the hands back alongside you. Lift and roll the shoulders. Hands on the waist as you maybe have your knees and feet slightly wider than hip width apart, and subtly bend your knees, perhaps look down and have a sense of the abdominal connection where your abdominal muscles engage slightly. Then come to standing, and then come to the opposite where you lift your heels and look at test your balance this morning. Might not be great, but it doesn't matter. And then lower the heels and lower the hands. Lift and roll the shoulders again and clasp the hands behind you. Aim the knuckles towards the floor. This opens up the shoulders. And breathing out, turn to the left. Come to the centre and breathing out, turn to the right. And come to the centre. Release the hands. And then again, I need feedback from you, Sarah, if this is working for you, to slide your hands down the legs to the shins. Half lift. My feedback is this too much for you? Breathing out, soften in. Thank you. Breathing in, half lift. And stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, soften the knees, press the feet down, and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Breathing in, lift the hands up, thumbs behind, little fingers in front, and breathing out, lower the hands. Lift and roll the shoulders. And then again, we'll come to do this, but we'll do this from a Chinese medicine perspective. So it's just skirting into Qigong if you're interested. Breathing in, raise the hands up as we did before. Clasp and reverse. And breathing out, lower the hands back down again. And soften the knees as we do this again. Breathing in, hands up. Clasp and reverse. And we do the same as we go subtly to one side, breathing out. Breathing, coming to the centre, and breathe out, subtly come to the other side, chin to chest. Breathe in, coming up. Once more, turn to one side. Come to the centre as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, turn to the other side. And then come to the centre. Keep your feet a little bit, make sure they're hip width apart, maybe wider. And then begin to lower the hands, soften the knees, and come to bend forward, but only as much as works for you. So you can have the hands really resting on the shins, if you want to. If you don't want to come down any further, if you do want to come right down, then that's fine. But otherwise, and then just slide your hands behind so that you're holding your calves. And again, you don't have to come down very far. And breathing in, just feel the back stretch, breathing out. Just relax forward. And then just bring your hands to the floor. You can keep your head up slightly and come to almost a squat. But again, you don't have to come to a complete squat. It's just a nod to a squat. It's very good for the lower back. Take an in breath here and an out breath here. And then breathing in, come to roll up, and do feel that you can use your hands against your legs if you need to do this. As the support, just very gently come up. And then this very familiar and delightful flying. So this is moving all the joints. And you can bend the elbows if you need to. And then just come to bring the hands below the navel, the dantian in Chinese medicine. Just take an in and an out breath. So this next very gentle movement is almost sweeping our energetic body. So in some, it would be like sweeping the aura. And I don't know why it is quite calming, but it is. So breathing in, just lift the palms upwards and just sweep them. They don't have to touch the head, over the head, and breathing out, lower the hands back down again. And repeat that a few times in your own breath pattern, breathing in as you come halfway up, the hands then just go over the head, almost sweeping the aura. The movement coordinates with breath, so that becomes calming to the nervous system anyway. And then make the next one the last one. And then just release, roll, lift and roll the shoulders backwards. And then coming to the top of the mat, half salute to the sun, we'll start with that. So just hands together at the heart centre, soften the knees and circle the hands up. Stretch up. Come through the centre and then slide the hands down to the shins. Breathing in, lengthen, half lift. Breathing out, soften in. Breathing in, half lift. And as you breathe out, slide the hands down to the floor so you can keep your head, neck almost in one line. And slide back with your right foot, right knee to the ground. You're keeping your head almost looking along the floor or looking straight ahead. And then slide the other knee back. So I'm very mindful of the downward dog aspect here. So dipping your boot, doing some cat-cow, breathing in, looking up. And breathing out, only round your back as much as you feel that you are comfortable to do so. Chin will come to the chest, but only go as far as you want to. And breathing in, dipping the back. And then rounding. And then dipping the back. And this time, as you round, bring your bottom towards your heels, but to save the head coming down too far, make two fists with your hands, make two fists, and then just bring your elbows together and rest your forehead on your forehead. Rest your hands on your forehead, so that this keeps the head and the neck kind of parallel to the ground rather than coming down too far.
even here, you would engage your lower abdominal muscles and the perineum. So even when you're relaxing, if you're being truly yogic, you're engaging your core slightly. It's very easy to let it all go, but again, there is a choice to let it all go if you want to, but yogically you would engage your core. And then very gently come up back to hands and knees and move the hands to the left to allow the right foot to come up. So we're going to kneel up, and if you need padding under your left knee, do take it, and if you need to put your right foot out towards the edge of the mat to support you, then please do. And open your palms, looking forward or up, just depends on your balance. And then you can, again, experiment with your right foot, maybe if you've got long legs, a little bit forward, to bring your head upright and to have the hands upright. Once you're up, you again have got the choice to do almost a crescent moon to look up, but otherwise keep looking forward. And take an in and an out breath here. And then cactus arms, opening the shoulders, and breathing in, just stretching up. And then lower the hands and come to place your right hand on the waist, your left hand on your outer right thigh, and turn to look over the right shoulder. And then come back to the centre, tummy in, as you bring the hands to either side of your right foot. Maybe bring the right foot in slightly to the centre more. Tuck the left toes, tummy in, lift the left knee, and slide the left foot to the right foot, and hands onto the shins, half lift. Breathing out, curl in. Breathing in, half lift. And stay here as you breathe out. And then breathing in, press the feet down and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And breathing in, hands up. And breathing out low. I just wanted to check in with you, Sarah. Was that all right, or do you need any modifications? Or that's fine. That's fine. Okay. And I'm leaving out downward dog. That's okay. So then just lift and roll the shoulders, hands together at the heart centre. You like downward dog, don't you?
Yes, but I don't mind. I mean, I think with vertigo it's not funny.
Okay. So I'll think about that.
Mm.
Just stepping the hands up, come down through the centre, slide the hands down to the shins, breathing in, half lift, breathing out, curl in, breathing in, half lift, and then as you breathe out, soften the knees, hands to either side of your feet, and slide your left foot back, left knee on the ground. And just feel the stretch in your right hip here, as you just feel that the back is lengthening, looking either down, looking down so the back of your neck is long. And then slide your right foot back, so this is all fours. And your cat-cow again, dipping your back as you look up, and rounding the back, but only as much as you feel you're able to, chin to chest. Breathing in, and breathing out. So as you dip your back again, we can split and have a choice. Round the back and bring your bottom towards your heels, coming to either the same child's pose with your hands and fists, or if you feel that you want to, just stretch your arms out, depends what support you need for your head. And just take a couple of breaths here. But otherwise, if you would like to try on at this point a downward dog, tuck your toes and then come into your downward dog. Your downward dog, so you can walk the dog or not, you can sway from side to side or not, and Sarah, perhaps just stay
down, relaxing in your version of child's pose. Relax the head if you're in downward dog. Engage the lower abdominal muscles back towards the spine or up a little bit. Perineum subtly engages. And then we all meet up back into child's pose. Your version of child's pose. And then come up to all fours and come to bring your hands now to the right to allow your left foot to come up and hands to either side of the left foot, just stretching forward. And then come back to a 90-degree angle with your left knee, leg, tuck your right toes under. Lift your right knee and step or slide your right foot to your left. Hands go onto the shins. Half lift. Breathing out. Curl in. Half lift again. Stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in. Roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And then when you're standing, raise your arms up. And breathing out. Lower the arms. Lift and roll the shoulders. And then come to a breath work, a very simple breath work. Breathing in, scoop the arms out, to come back. And then breathing out, away, back, and lower. Out, to bring them in, push them away, coming back, and then lower. And again. Lift and roll shoulders. And then bring the hands to the heart. Come to very, very gently bend your knees. We're going to come to the mat. And we're going to come with the knees come to one side and then the legs out in front of you. If I've got this, just bounce your legs and we'll just do some circulation. I've got a feeling from the Ayurvedic perspective for vertigo, they do something really weird. They get someone to lie on the couch with their head hanging off.
Uh-huh.
They hold the head.
Ah, you're thinking of something manoeuvre.
And then they move the head from side to side to break up the crystals. Is that right?
If you've got these crystals, yes. There is a manoeuvre, which the name of which I forget. So people have idiopathic vertigo. It's sometimes because the crystals got sort of stuck or something, and then you put your head over the back of a table, or you're lying on a bed or something, your head over the back of it, and then they sort of move it around, and then it's got a name, like it's something manoeuvre, and it helps.
Manoeuvre, yeah. I had it done actually because when I first had all this problem with dizziness and funny symptoms, they wondered whether it was crystals to start with.
Yeah.
And they did that manoeuvre. I tell you, it's a bit shocking.
I think I would lose because you are crunching someone's head from side to side, but I've just remembered that. But so did it help or not at all in your case?
No, not at all, because it wasn't crystals.
No, it's vascular.
Oh, okay, right. That rather solves that then.
But it can work if you've got crystals stuck. It can be quite effective actually. Yes.
Oh, okay.
But if you've got vestibular migraine, it won't help at all. No.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well then, moving on. Just toes up and toes away.
a couple of times. We're just looking to boost the circulation in the body system. And then circle the ankles in one direction. And then circle the ankles in the opposite direction. And then just bounce the legs. And then either rub your legs or pat them or do a combination of both, looking or aiming to stimulate your circulation. And then bend up your right knee, hug your right knee into the chest, and open your right knee to the right. If you need support under your right knee, then fine, and your right sole of the foot doesn't have to connect to the left inner thigh. Just lengthen the body by touching your hands to either side of you. Turn to the left, raise your hands as an option, and then bend your elbows and just slide your hands down your shins. So for you, Sarah, you might like to keep your head almost upright, subtly drop your chin to your chest, and just come into a very half or modified head to knee pose, Janushirasana, but keeping yourself upright. But otherwise, you can slide your hands down your shins to where it's comfortable. Almost feel that you're leading with the chest to lengthen the back and the chest at the same time, and then just relax forward. But as I said, you don't have to, Sarah, let your head go. You keep the back of the neck long, chin slightly tucked in, so you're keeping as high as possible. And of course, we're opening the right inner groin, and that's part of the lower lymphatic system. The slight turn to the left lengthens begins to balance out the muscles of the spine. And the head, even slightly forward, is calm into the nervous system. The toes of the left foot are slightly up to engage the muscles to either side of the left leg. Just take a couple of breaths in and out. And then very gently slide your hands up your left leg. Come to hug your right knee into the chest. You don't have to have it hugged right in. You can move the right foot out slightly. And keeping the right leg hugged in, you can hold the right leg with the left hand, or with the left and the right hand, and just turn to look over the right shoulder. Your head is the last thing to turn, so feel that you're lengthening the body and then just a subtle turn. And if the head doesn't move very much, that's fine. And then come back to the centre and support the right leg as you stretch the right leg out, just massaging around the right knee. The whole knee is a marker point. And then we come to the other side, hugging the left knee into the chest, opening the left knee to the left, Janushirasana on the other side, extend the right heel. Just come to touch the hands to either side of you, lengthen the body, turn to the right, optional to lift your hands up, and then to save your back, bend your elbows and slide your hands down your right shin. So again, you choose whether you come down a little bit, keeping the back of the neck long, chin in slightly, but hardly coming forward, or whether you want to come down and come forward quite a lot. If you come down quite a lot, feel that either side of you is extending evenly, which I think is quite difficult. I think, to me, this pose kind of flags any stiffness in the hips.
And a couple more breaths in your own breath pattern. And then just very gently slide the hands up the leg, the right leg. Come to hug the left knee in, and you might want to put your left foot out slightly to the left. As you hug the left knee in, feel that your lower abdominal muscles are pulling in to support this upward lift, and core is engaging, in other words. And then just hold your left knee with your right hand. You can keep your left hand there too if you want to. And then just turn to the left. You might want to put your left hand behind you on the ground and look over your left shoulder, but that turn of the head is the last thing to get to turn. And then coming back to the centre, just hug your left knee into the chest and then start to slide the left leg out. We're going to come into Baddha. So both soles of the feet together, both knees open to the side. Again, you don't have to come forward so much. You can lift up and then just relax forward, but hardly, you don't have to have your head forward. And then take your thumbs and just massage the soles of your feet. So the head, in reflexology, is represented, not surprisingly, by the big toe. So if you use your fingers and thumb around your big toe, any point that is slightly sensitive kind of reflects on the head. So again, it's worth just exploring around the big toe, the sides, the end, over the big toe. And then just generally, if you want to focus on anywhere else, the sole of the foot can be quite soothing. The ankles represent the lymphatic system, inner and outer ankles, the lower lymphatic system. You're opening your thighs, so again that's blood flow to the lower abdominal area and lymphatic system again. And then just very gently come to bring your knees up, and we're going to come to lie on the mat. And perhaps start with the knees bent, feet are hip width apart. You might, as an option, want to press your feet down to lift your bottom and feel that you're just then setting your back down. Straight. Just make sure that your shoulders are away from your ears. And then just very gently let the head almost roll. Move it very gently to one side. Chin stays slightly in. Take an in and out breath there. Let the weight of the head connect to the mat as you bring the head back up, back to where it was in the centre, and let the head just move over to the other side. Bring the head back to the centre. Move your feet to the edges of the mat, and then palms are lightly palms down on the mat. Just very gently let both knees go to the right, which will mean that your left knee drops into the centre of the mat, or into the mat anyway, and your left hip lifts off the ground. And then when you next breathe in, bring both knees back to upright and very gently carry on with that movement to let both knees drift to the left, and your right hip will lift. And you can purposefully almost extend your right leg, your right knee to the centre, just to get that opening in the hip. And then start to move your legs swaying from side to side in your own pattern. Officially, you're supposed to move the knees with your breath. So officially, you're supposed to breathe out as the knees drift outwards. You can linger there for a couple of breaths. knees are supposed to come back on the in-breath to upright and then breathing out to the other side. But just don't worry about the breath, just go from side to side. And you'll notice perhaps that as your knees are drifting from side to side, the back of the head is just very gently moving too, in a very subtle movement, being supported by the earth. And then bring the knees to upright, perhaps bring the feet back to hip width apart, and maybe bring them fractionally towards your bottom, palms are down on the mat. And just make a couple of pelvic tilt movements. No pressure, don't try too hard. When you try too hard for your body, it sets up a stress. And although you don't notice it normally, if you've been troubled by headaches or migraine or anything in the head, you'll notice the effects more in the head than you perhaps might do. So always less is more in movement. So a couple of pelvic tilts. And then just relax on the floor, come to neutral. And a couple of breaths, breathing in through the nose, and then in your own time, breathing out through the mouth. And then let that breath awareness just drift away. And keep your right leg where it is. Hug the left knee into the chest. Just be relaxed. You might very subtly, as you're holding your left knee, just circle it a very small amount in one direction. So all this is designed to be helpful for the lower back. But the sub aspect of this is that it encourages blood to go to the head. Just circle the knee up in the opposite direction very gently. So the spine is in a straight line, and with that in a straight line, back of the neck is slightly long. You can almost feel the blood flow moving all the way up, and from the lower spine right to the head. And then hugging the left knee into the chest, and then still holding it, let it drift away to arm's length as you breathe in. Again, this is very helpful for the spine, the blood, but generally for the head as well. Because the body's not being asked to support itself. The ground's doing that, and so it can relax any tenseness in the muscles. There's a very subtle, almost weighted bottom on the ground, almost massages the lower back at this point very gently. And then just supporting the left knee, just very gently place the left foot on the ground. Palms down, and just once more, very subtly sway the knees from side to side and feel the massage at the top of the bottom. And then we're going to come to the centre of the knees, keep the left foot where it is, and gently hug the right knee into the chest.
And then very subtly circle the right knee a few times in one direction. And then circle the right knee a few times in the opposite direction. And then hugging the right knee into the chest. Still holding it, let it drift away to arm's length. And just do that a few times to your own breath pattern. And then keep the right knee hugged into the chest. And then in your own time, let the left knee join it and hold the left knee with your left hand so both knees are hugged into the chest. You can have your knees slightly wider apart to be comfortable. Hug both knees into the chest. Let both knees drift away. Still holding them, and just do that a few times to your own breath pattern. If you want to linger anywhere, then just do linger. And you might want to, as you're hugging in, almost adopt a circular movement. Hugging them in and perhaps circling fractionally one way. It's an option. So particularly here with both knees in, you'll feel the pressure on your lower back. And again with the spine and the back of the head supported, back of the neck is slightly long, chin slightly down. You're beginning to encourage blood to go into the head. You can feel almost the circulation just tingling all the way along the back and up into the head. And then hug both knees into the chest and keep both knees moving as one unit now as you circle the knees in one direction. And you'll find that the focus of the movement is around the lower spine. And then circle both knees as one unit in the opposite direction. And then just supporting the legs, maybe holding them under the thighs to place one foot and then the other foot back down onto the mat. Feet come to hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider if that's more comfortable for you. And then just palms down or palms on the abdomen, let both knees drift over to the right. Your left hip will lift, and you might want to look towards the left. Take an in and out breath. Bring both knees to the centre, and then very gently let both knees drop towards the left. They might not go down very far, and your right hip will lift, and you might look subtly towards the right. Bring both knees to upright, and then slide the feet once more to the edge of the mat, so that your knees then just comfortably touched in what is known as constructive rest.
And keeping your elbows on the ground, actually they're going to come slightly off the ground, just place both palms of the hands either side of your head. Your thumbs are behind your ears. Your back of your neck still long, and just subtly press your hands almost into your temples. And just take a couple of breaths here. You can keep your hands totally still, or with them slightly pressed into the temples, you can subtly circle the hands in one direction as an option. So I'm sure I've said this before, but this is the starting point for Reiki. And we can self-heal in Reiki. So this is a really key point. And in a Reiki treatment, you would stay at this point for around 5 minutes. Major acupressure point into the head. And then just release that, and then just take your fingertips and just place them above your eyebrows. So in energy medicine, these are known as I don't know what they are in the other thing, but they're known as the neurovascular points. And just by gently pressing your fingertips there, they, I think I've got this right, stop the blood from leaving the head, which can happen when you're, so it just keeps, especially for headaches, it's very helpful. Quite soothing. And then release those points, and then just drop, it doesn't matter which hand. Take one hand, and with your fingertips very lightly, no pressure at all really, just move or drag or start almost at one side of the forehead, almost at the temple, but not, just at one side of the forehead, and just trace your fingertips across your forehead, across your third eye, and come off at the other side of the head. Lift the fingers up and then start the same position again. Doesn't matter which side you go, from left to right or right to left, or which hand you use. You're always moving in the same direction. So you're just very gently tracing over the third eye, really, going from one side to the other. It can again be terribly soothing to the head. And then just release, and then place both hands, I would say at the chest, but probably just as we're lying below the chest, connecting to our heart centres. And the heart kind of links up to the brain, of course. And maybe have a moment to have a thought for the day, setting your intention. It can be for you or for someone close to you. Or it can be an intention just to sort of let go of everything, that you're, let go of any stress levels, will get sorted. And then having mentally set your intention for the day, that's set. And then come to very gently once more, hug one knee into the chest and then the other knee. And this time just gently rock from side to side, just stretching out the lower back. Once more, head is heavy on the ground. And if you're comfortable here, you can choose to just carry on rocking from side to side. You don't need to come up to finish the class, you can just stay here. And if you do want to come to a seated position to finish the class, then you would roll to the side, to the right if it's available to you, away from the heart. And in order not to stress the mind or the head, you come up very gently so as the body gets used to the change in position, and almost a few seconds almost at each position, so that there's no shock to the system, everything's very gentle. To come up to a seated position. And to finish the class, you can mentally, if you've not come up, just mentally put your hands to your forehead, kind thoughts, hands to the lips, kind words, and hands to the heart, kind deeds. Have a lovely day, thank you. And I will read